Welcome to the Good Days Academy podcast. I'm Maria, a virtual assistant, project manager, and social media manager, here to help you launch and scale that VA business you've been dreaming to have. If you're ready for expert advice on virtual assistant services, marketing, productivity, and work-life balance, you are in the right place. Let's create brighter days together, one episode at a time. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Good Days Academy podcast. Today, I have Brianna. She's already my bestie. Probably she doesn't know, but we're very close friends.
We are.
um, I'm so excited that she's here because she is a queen. She's a social media queen. I honestly can't believe that we're speaking today. So I'll pass it over to you, and you can introduce yourself, Bri. Welcome.
Awesome. Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I feel like podcasts are so like daunting before you get on, but then you get on, you're like, oh, this is like so nice. But yes, I am Bree. I am a social media manager. I have been in the space for about almost 4 years now. And I work with brands kind of all over the US. And I also work with a brand in Canada. So that has been really fun. But other than social media and all of those things, I also do mental health advocacy on my Instagram. I also focus on fitness and kind of just really taking care of your body because it does so much for you. Um, and all the things like that. I think that social media is an amazing space for brands and businesses and all of those things. But there's also a side of social media that can be very comparing and very
Mm.
difficult to kind of, go through as a business owner and as a consumer. So I think kind of bridging that between both aspects of the consumer and also the person who is posting, we have to be very in tune with what we're posting and very in tune with how we're feeling and our, anxiety and all of those things. So, yes, those are some things I like to focus on, and I'm just so excited to be here.
Me too, especially because we have so much to cover.
Yes,
And there's one thing, and this is just for the chisme, to be honest.
yes,
This
yes,
is just for the chisme, but I was going through your website and I
yes,
saw that I think you were either a teacher already or you were at school to become a
yes,
teacher. And
yes.
then you're just like you did you teach or
No.
okay, so I wanna
So,
know because
yeah,
I was
no.
like, "Hold on, so you actually have, like, a different background." I wanna know everything, girl. I wanna know what happened,
Yes.
like, starting from the day that you finished high school,
Yes.
what happened?
Okay. So I had a very troubling childhood. I had parents who are amazing now, but they weren't as great as a child. We were children. That my parents had me extremely young. My mom was 18 and we she was just a child raising me. So I got out of high school and I said, "You know what? I want to go into psychology." So I went into psychology. I wanted to be a social worker, and then I realized, wow, psychology is a lot. I
Mm,
don't have all the space up there for all of that
mm,
information. So I was like, okay, I'll just be a teacher. I've always loved writing. As you could tell, I kind of took writing into my business now, but I always loved writing. I would literally create my own magazines as a kid. I would write like crazy stories and all of those things. So I thought, okay, like I could be a teacher, of course I could. No. So, what made me realize not is that I have, 5 brothers, ranging from raising
okay.
ranging from the ages, um, 16, he'll be 17 soon, I believe 13, 8, 9? Yeah, 9 and 7, going to be 8. And also a 4-year-old, yes. So I have ranges all ages. And I also have cousins and all those things. So realizing how social media, YouTube, all of these things kind of like ruined our children. And I know this is like not a controversial take because I think everyone's realizing like the iPad kids are out of control. And I can say that. I can say that as a sister of mostly iPad kids.
And
Um,
adults, honestly.
yes, like iPhone adults, they are, oh my gosh, I cannot. So, not to, listen, I'm a TikTok scroller. I love YouTube, but I
Same.
think we have entered an era of a little bit of brain rot. But with that being said, my brothers are just all over the place, and I was like, "I don't think I could teach them." If and obviously, I wouldn't be teaching my brothers, but their age ranges, I hear so much from school. I hear so much from my brothers' moms and my mom and all of those things, so I'm just like, "You know what? Maybe this is just not for me." So I said, "What am I gonna do?" I had no clue. I was so lost. I've always loved being creative. I would put together, like, YouTube videos and, like, things like that. Not of myself, but, in high school, we used to have all of these big different, like, events. We did Powder Puff, we did, um, just, like, a few different things, sports, all those things. So I said, "Okay, I know how to edit videos. I have been creative making flyers, writing and making magazines, drawing, all those things. Why not put that into something?" So I was working at a salon. I worked there for 2 years. I was miserable. If you've ever worked at a salon or you've ever known, like, working with all women is hit or miss. I love women, but I think that sometimes people can clash a lot, and it just wasn't a great space because our, like, boss and, like, management was not great. So what I did was I started making some logos. I think all social media managers start making
Mhm.
logos.
Yes.
Um, it literally
Some sort
and
of
I
graphic for sure.
Right,
Mhm.
or like pamphlets, stuff like that. So I said, "Okay, logos ex Brie," if you could tell that's my email. Um, so that's where it came from. And then I said, "Okay, this is not working out, like, it's only my mom's friends who feel bad for me bar purchasing, so maybe I should do something else." I've always loved social media, so I said, "Okay, what am I gonna do here?" So I literally did not wanna do teaching. I switched my major to business administration and then my minor to marketing. And I learned so much from marketing because I mainly took all marketing classes. I think it was my fall semester. No, it was my spring semester of freshman year. So I said, okay, let's do something with this. So I said, the only way that I'm going to get hands on experience is if I intern. So I interned with Bound Social. I don't know if you know who she is, but she's amazing. Her name's Sarah. She runs like an agency and they literally are so good. I learned so much from her, and from there, I did a internship with, this Utah agency, Sauce Media Group, and I loved it there too. I learned so much, and so I took kind of what I've learned from both of them, and I said, "Okay, I still need a little bit more guidance," so I did a lot of research. I took a lot of more classes in college. Now I'm not finished with college yet, I'm almost done, but I feel like there is no time limit. I think that
Mhm.
I was supposed to graduate last year, and of course, don't get me wrong, like, I am not disappointed because I've come so far, but I think just, like, overwhelmed, like, "Okay, you have so much on your plate, when am I going to finish?" You know?
Mhm.
Um but again, no time limit. So yeah, from there, I started my Instagram page. I started growing a lot because during the time that graphics were literally popping off all over Instagram, I said, okay, Tonic, I need all of these. And so I bought all of Tonic's templates and I said, okay, take all of your knowledge, put them into the templates, and start posting. And I probably posted about 4 times a week, a new graphic every single time. And that's when I started hitting the explore page. I started getting a lot more following, you know, all of those things. And I said, okay, I have a great following, but I don't have community. I don't really talk to anybody. I don't really get, and I get comments, but it's more surface level comments,
Yeah.
nothing creating a connection. So I'm like, how do I do this? Like, what am I supposed to do
Mm.
from here? So then I started, trying to create more forward-facing content and showing myself more on stories, and then from there, I feel like once I started sharing my personal story I think once I hit January last year is when things started to just get better for me. Last year, like 2023, it was a good year for my business, more of the growth period, figuring out my systems, figuring out
Mm.
if, like, hiring, all of those things. I went through hiring nightmares. And I
Oh,
finally found my
no.
girl. Yes, I
Okay.
did get taken advantage of. Um, I was paying this girl, she's so nice, no names, no nothing, but I was paying this girl and she was supposed to be doing outbound engagement, and she would tell me she was and send me screenshots, but then when I went in to see if anything was liked or anything was engaged with, nothing was engaged with. This was months of work. And so I was like,
What?
"Oh, this is not okay. Like, what is going on?" So from there, I obviously had a lot of trust issues. I didn't want to hire anyone. I was just like, "What's going on? This is kind of messed up." Because you get paid for something. It's not hard work. Like, it's really not. It's just social media, and like social media is hard work when you're doing like the marketing, the creating, and all of those things. But when you're just engaging, I mean, come on. So, she was super nice about it. After I had reached out to her, she actually sent me back the money I paid her. So much respect to her. But it gave me, like, kind of anxiety. So, I had met a girl in my town. She was interested in, like, social media, all those things, and I said, "Oh my god, you're near me. This is perfect. Like,
I
this
love
is
that.
perfect." Yeah, so she started with me end of last year, and or, like, summer of last year, and ever since, it has been amazing. You
Oh
probably
my
see me post
god.
about her, Amaya, like, she'll be in, like, my stories or, like, on my feed. She does all of my, Annette's Beauty Bar content shoots with me, like, she is,
Mhm.
like, a dream, and I'm like, "Okay, I have been able to focus so much more on socially great content and more of, like, my physical health and all of those things because she has taken on a good amount of work from my, kind of
Plate.
yeah, my plate, and I feel like outsourcing is everything. Like, if you find someone you actually trust and, like, you have a contract in place, you are, like, sure that you're going to get, obviously, your money's worth, but also you connect with that person, I think outsourcing is the best thing that you can do for yourself and your mental health, honestly.
Mm, that's true. That's such honestly, you've touched so many good points here. And I'm just gonna say, first of all, this is a sign that if you are studying something and you're like, I don't know, I feel like this maybe is not what I want, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Like literally, it
No.
doesn't matter. You can just like study another thing or just pause or whatever and just do whatever you want to do. And I feel like
Yes.
you had your soul was calling you in marketing because you said that you took some marketing classes and then was like,
Yes.
let's put this into practice. So I think that most of the times that happens so often to us. Like we're doing some things on the side that we enjoy a lot, but for some reason we don't give them attention to. And
Yes.
then that ends up being exactly what we want to do. So
Yes.
take this as a sign. And then the second thing that I wanted to talk about was what you just mentioned about outsourcing because I feel like I am in that point where I need to really consider it. And I actually had someone. She was amazing. Her name is Caitlin. So if she's gonna be listening to this, I love you, Caitlin. She's the best. She helped me so much. But I
Aw.
feel like personally, I wasn't ready to take someone and teach her because I feel like I
Yes.
didn't show up for her how she deserved it because the
Yes.
same thing, like, she was someone who she's, studying, she wanted to be in marketing, and she wanted to help me, and I said, "Yes," but I kinda, like, just threw a bunch of things at her, and she did an amazing job, but at the same time, I was feeling bad about it because I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, if I'm gonna take someone, I wanna make sure that I will actually teach her." So, we're not working together anymore because I was like, "Okay, I need a break." Now that you speak about mental health also, I took on a bunch of clients in the summer, and then I was like, "Okay, I'm forgetting about myself. I'm forgetting
Yes.
about my own brand because 'cause I've been focusing a lot on my clients
Yeah.
and not in good days." So what you said, like, building community and, like, actually talking to people, which I love so much, and now I'm just, like, getting again, starting to, like, feeling comfortable with it because it's like I have no mental space to
No.
engage with people. So I just love that you're talking about mental health and outsourcing and all these things. And
Yes. It's so important.
I would love to know from you, like, what are the signs that will give us like, okay, it's time to outsource, and
Yes.
what would you recommend so that, like people like me or other people who are thinking about becoming social media managers or virtual assistants for when they're ready to outsource, what should they keep in mind, and where can they look for people
Yeah,
to help them?
absolutely. So okay, first with signs, like when you realize, okay, you do love what you do, but you're starting to not love it anymore because you're so busy. You don't have enough
Mm,
time, just like you had said, to focus on your mental health and focus on the things that you do love. One thing for me that's a non negotiable: no working on weekends, no posting on weekends, no nothing. I try to be as off of my social media other than TikTok. Like, I love to scroll at night, just like I have comfort creators, but I've tailored my TikTok following to, not my following, but like me following, um, to only be comfort creators like Sydney Adams, Emily Kaiser, all of them, but not to get off track.
mm,
Basically, no working on weekends. And if you cannot do that with the workload you have, then that is a sign that you should be outsourcing. You should at least get 2 days off, whether it's you work on the weekends and you get 2 weekdays off, if that's better for you, whatever, you make your own schedule. But I do definitely recommend like taking 2 full days out of the week to reset, move your body, go do something that you like. For me, it's I go to the movies with my boyfriend or a friend, we go out to breakfast. All of those things, like, I think are so important on the weekends, and a day to rot. I am a huge advocate for rotting, okay?
yes.
Like, I literally last Sunday, I mean, well, Saturday we went to a Halloween party, and then Sunday I was so unwell that we woke up at 10, got diner food, whatever. And that's another thing with fitness and all those things, you can enjoy yourself. Like, I still enjoy myself. I'm not going to restrict myself. That's what my broadcast channel is about, is just like really tune into your body and focusing on, yes, whole foods, but foods that you enjoy as well. So, for
Yeah.
example, I came home through laundry and I did not leave my couch the entire day. And some people would say, "Oh, that's so like
No.
not healthy or whatever." It is so healthy because when your brain is working all week, all day, every few hours, like, no, I need the rotting time.
Yeah.
So yes, I think that that's very important. And also listening to your body and how you're sleeping. Stress, anxiety, all of those things are so important. I have like an aura ring which tells me how I sleep. It's my favorite thing ever. If it broke today, I would get it back tomorrow. I'll show you like the app. So basically,
I need
you
that.
wear it and it tells you, basically, it tells you your sleep score. I did not sleep very well last night, let me just say, but it tells you all of the things that are not working for you. It shows you like your history. So yesterday, the day before, all those things. That was the night I went out. Clearly bad. Um, but yes, so it goes over your activity, all of those things, how many steps you have, like, it is my everything. So, really being in tune with your body and recognizing, it tells you how many hours in a day you're stressed. Like, it is so good.
I love that.
Um,
I
so
have
with
my
that,
Christmas gift. That's my
yes.
Christmas gift. Yeah.
If this broke today, I would literally put it on my credit card to buy it tomorrow. Like, I would go into debt for it, I fear. It's not that expensive. Like, it is expensive, don't get me wrong, but it's not like I'm gonna be paying it off for a
Yeah.
year. It's
Like
just
crazy expensive.
I think this one was $4.99, which
Okay.
it's expensive, but it's like an Apple Watch. So,
Mhm.
it's not too bad. But yeah, so listening to your body and all of those things. Also, your quality of work. If you find that your quality of work is going down because you have so many clients, that's
Mhm.
another thing, because your clients are paying you good money to get a
Mm.
service. They deserve the best version of yourself. And that's why I always advocate to take care of yourself, because you are the main person who is creating the content, coming up with the strategy, coming up with your plan for engagement, all of those things. So if your quality of work is going down, you have to also focus on yourself. So when it comes to outsourcing, you have to figure out what you want to outsource, what you're not willing to give up versus what you are. So, for example, for me, I've worked with a lot of my clients for a very long time. I'm talking beginning of Socially Bree. So I've been with my Thomas Blonde client for 3 years now.
Wow.
I've been with my Annette client for 2 years now. And my social media coordinator takes care of my Annette client fully. She takes care of their captions, posts, stories, reels. And then I go in, I approve it. I have her send that to the client so she is also involved because she is a team member. That's another thing, involving your team member
Mm.
and making them feel like a part of the team, not like an extension who's just helping you and doesn't get to reap the benefits of hearing the client's feedback. I think it's very important to treat them well and like let them be a part of the decision making and also let them be a part of the forward facing client experience because their work deserves to be celebrated as well, and they're supposed to be able to kind of get that feedback. Um, so with that being said, she does take care of that. She takes care of captions for one other client, and then she takes care of the posts, captions, and stories for my Thomas Blonde client. We split up the work because it is a lot of work. So for Thomas Blonde, I do their emails, SMS, and blog, and I also do their pins, TikToks, TikTok captions, pin descriptions, and scheduling, all of that. So it
Oh,
is their they do a lot of work, but
a lot.
she
Yeah.
splits that with me, and it helps me so much. So with all of that, I'm able to take a hour and a half lunch break. Uh, like, imagine that. I'm so blessed.
Yes.
Yes, I'm so blessed to be able to do that. So I'm able to
Love
run to the
that.
gym, come home, eat, shower, then hop back into work. And when I work later, I don't feel as bad because, okay, yes, okay, I might work till 6:30, but I got that hour and a half break, and
Mhm.
then 6:30 isn't even bad. I get out, I'm
Yeah.
already showered, so I get to eat dinner and rot on the couch for the rest of the night, then do my night routine. So
Yeah.
that is kind of like signs and then what to delegate, but then now where to find them. The way I found my social media coordinator and like the one before was posting on my story and
Mm.
asking, and I did see Shantae with the Sugar Punch Marketing. Have you heard of her? Yes,
Mhm.
she's amazing. I actually
Mm.
was on her podcast. Um
Ooh,
yeah, but
I hope to
she
listen to that.
I know, right? Oh my gosh, she's amazing, like, literally so talented, but she posted yesterday that she was hiring, and she tagged some other social media managers, me included, and we all reposted it on our stories. That's what happens when you have community is you
Community.
can yes, you can reach out to other social media managers, ask them to post that on their story, and then you're getting a lot of feedback from a lot of other social media managers and their audiences as well. So, I think the best way to do it is like that. I've never tried looking on, like, LinkedIn or looking on, like, any
Yeah.
other source of, um, things because I just haven't had to, so I don't have too much experience in that, area, but I would say posting it, asking for feedback, um, and also asking people in your life because there's a lot of people who are interested in the social space that want to learn and are willing to, kind of, like, try it out, and I
Mm.
think that that is what happened with my social media coordinator now is she was into, she's doing, like I don't remember what exactly she's doing in school, but she is about to go study abroad, and, like, it is so
Ooh,
cool. I
I
know, I'm
love
learning
that.
so much from her, I'm like, "Oh my god, like, you are so cool." But I posted about it on my story about having an opening, and she reached out to me, and she didn't have experience actually working with she did an internship, but she never, like, did it on her own, and she was like, "I would like to intern for you." I think it lasted maybe, like, a few months, and I was like, "You're
Yeah.
hired. Let's go."
Yeah.
Like, I really love you. So, yeah, that's kind of, like, how I went through the hiring process and, like, what I looked for, and then how I figured out what I was going to delegate.
Yeah. I feel like our generation is not very we don't care about the title and the experience, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like, if I see that you wanna do it and you have a great attitude and I see that your values are aligned with mine in my
Right.
company well, I don't like calling it company, but you know what I mean?
Your
I'm like,
business.
"Sure, yeah,
Yeah.
let's do it. I don't care." Because to me, it was really hard. I had a really hard time finding a job,
Okay.
which is why I had to move to another country because in my
Okay.
country, it was, like, really difficult for me to find a job.
Okay.
And I was like, "Okay, maybe I need to, like, look for another opportunity some, other place." So, I have this mindset of, like, I don't wanna be that person, like especially because I feel like people for this type of job, I'll say, because it's what we know, you don't necessarily need to have a title, like, it's great, and that's gonna
Yeah.
give you a great backup and, like, the theory part of everything, but you
Yeah.
don't need it. Like, if
No.
you are creative and you've been editing videos for YouTube because you like it, that's all you need, and you have a
Right.
great attitude. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like for when I'm ready, I won't care. Like, if you have it, amazing, but
Right.
that's not gonna be to me like "Oh, yeah, you have to have a title. If not, you
100%.
cannot apply," or anything like that.
Right. And I think portfolio work is so like for example,
Mhm.
I've actually heard from so many like bigger business owners and like CEOs, they would rather hire somebody with a good portfolio than someone who just
Yeah.
graduated from college with a degree. And that's why I'm not in a super big rush to get a degree because if all else fails, let's say for example, obviously, hopefully not, God willingly, but let's say, I'm ready to maybe get something easier where I don't have to be the one doing taxes, doing the hard part, all of those things, and want to get a job. Don't get me wrong. I've had
Considering
moments. Yeah,
yes.
I've had moments like last year when I really, really hit a low. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to go work for somebody else, whatever. And
Breathe.
I, yeah,
Okay, let's just pause. When that happened to you, just message me. Just
no,
message
I
me.
know. I just feel like you get to a point where there's so much comparison, there's so much noise in the social space. And I feel like everyone now is becoming a social media manager, and a lot of people use, I don't want to say use, but a lot of times there's a lot of people who don't really know what they're talking about, but they use buzzwords in reels and know how
Yep.
to put a good hook together, which is great, but have nothing to really back it up. And then they sell something that is maybe $100 or something of that sort, and then they sell a lot of it because, of course, you're selling somebody a dream on, reels
Mm,
and all of those things, and it kind of gives the social media manager space kind of a bad look, I feel, because a lot of people have been scammed by these faceless digital marketers or, digital marketers who really don't know what they're talking about, but, like, resell courses and all of those things, and I think that obviously, it's everybody's due diligence that they have to do on their own before buying a product. But I also do think that it has become so easy to get in the minds of people, especially with the economy we're in and the kind of world we're in. I think that people have become a lot more vulnerable, and vulnerability is a great thing. I will always like be happy that I'm vulnerable and not open to different kinds of, like, opinions and, guidance and all of those things, but I do think that it's just easier for us to get scammed, and I don't love that, so that's just something that I've tried to figure out how to. Last year just took me a while to figure out what kind of content I wanted to put out that felt like me and felt like the journey I was going through. So when 2024 came in January, I hit such a low in my personal life as well. It wasn't just it really wasn't me. It mainly was honestly my personal life. And I didn't know how to create content feeling the way that I did
mm,
and being, let's say, confident when I wasn't confident, so I didn't wanna fake it till I made it. What I did is I leaned into that vulnerability, and I said, "Okay, here's what I'm feeling, and this is how it's affecting my business, but this is the plan I have in place to get my crap together," basically,
mhm.
and I had such good feedback from it, and luckily, I stuck to it. I think sharing my journey online has helped me keep accountability in a way and not wanna give up on what I'm doing. Um, so yeah, when January came, I said, "You know what? Screw it. I'm going to start working out. I'm going to start focusing on my mental health and really building good routines for myself because when you work from home, it can be very isolating and it can be very
Yeah.
sad. You want someone to talk to. And luckily, my boyfriend does work from home too, so I have him, but I'm with him every day, of course. We
Mhm.
love to kind of hear from other people and different opinions and knowledge from other people. So, that's definitely why I started my broadcast channel and, like, kind of sharing, like, fitness tips, but also mental health tips and, like, check-ins and questions and all these things because I wanted to create a space where people felt comfortable, but also a space where people were held accountable to complete their goals.
Oh my God, I love that. That's so true because I feel this year for me, I've only been in business for about like a year and a half,
Okay.
because I started Good Days in January last year, but like I actually got my first client in summer last year. And then this summer, so like a year after, I think that the whole lesson has been learning to say no and
Mhm.
learning to prioritize myself, because when you come first, then everything else will work, which
Yes.
is exactly what you're saying, like moving my body and just making sure that I'm, doing things that I also enjoy. And I was noticing that I was working more than doing things that I like, which is a little hard because I really like this job. I really
Yeah.
like being a social media manager and a virtual assistant, but I was working too much. This is amazing that you're saying, especially because this is like how important it is to have people who are vulnerable and who share
Yes.
their story, because it's like, okay, you're not the only one.
No,
This is
not at all.
okay. And this is her story, and this is what you can do too, if that's what you're
Absolutely.
going through. So thank you so much, Brie, for sharing all that. That's so,
Of
so beautiful.
course.
I love that.
It's so important.
Yeah. I also want to ask, and that probably is like linked somehow to mental health.
Yes.
Like, what did you have like any stories of like really difficult situations you've ever had to handle with clients? And how did that impact you, like as a professional, as a business owner? And how do you handle it?
I wouldn't say per se that I've actually ever had any really bad client experiences. I've been very lucky, and any experiences I did have with clients, I don't love to talk about just because I don't think that I as a social media, like, not even just as a social media manager, but I think as a business, um, when people share about their bad experiences with clients, even if they don't name names, I just think it's a little icky for some people. So, how about I share like a little bit of like what made me realize I needed better systems, and like because
I love
this
that.
was a bad experience that I did have. So, I had a kind of virtual assistant for a little while. What she worked on was just like my inquiries and all of those things. So, she had gone on maternity leave and I was handling it really all by myself. And not just maternity leave, but after that, we kind of decided to go our separate ways. So, I had to take care of that myself. Now, I just had my Dubsado put in by, Phoebe from Be Hope Studio, she's amazing, but after I got that put in, I was like, "Mm, this is hard to keep track of," and so a few days go by, like, maybe a week and a half, and I had, like, over 50 inquiries, and I'm like, "Fudge, I don't know what to do here, like, this is a lot." So I'm like, "What do I do?" Like, I have great systems, don't get me wrong, but now I have people emailing me, "Hey, I submitted an inquiry last week and I haven't heard anything back." And now, of course, that's my fault. Like, nothing of that manner. That is so my fault. But it's so hard getting back to everybody because you have to obviously read their inquiry form, look up their Instagram, see if you guys would be even a good fit. Then from there, see if they, clicked yes or no to be able to afford the package. Do you want to go back and offer one-on-one calls, or do you want so even though you do have ready-made email templates, you still have to go in there and customize them for each client.
Mhm.
So 51 people, I was like, "Oh my god, this is really hard."
Oh
And then I
my
got
God.
another email, and then it got to the point where I'm like, "Okay." I had gotten back to all of the people, but then next week, same situation. And it's
Mm.
kinda hard to go into your email and do it every single time you get an inquiry, like, on top of the other work you have. So, I was just like, "Ooh, this is really difficult." And at the time, I didn't have much space. So, I would get people commenting on my Instagram post, "Hi, I submitted an inquiry last week," or "I submitted an inquiry 3 days ago, blah, 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 blah." And I'm like, whoa, like, I understand, but also I have made it very clear I am usually a one woman business. I have in my bio that I'm fully booked. Like, all of these things, it's like I understand, but
Mm.
also give a little bit of grace. Like, I get it when people are in the discovery phase, they're in the I want phase, so they want to get an answer right away. Obviously, and take this as advice. The people who answer inquiries as soon as possible are more likely to secure the client than not. Even if a client wants to
100.
work with you, they're probably going to go with the person who answered, not me. So that
Mhm.
was a big lesson that I had to understand. But also, not only just that, it was taking accountability for myself and setting time away because I think it's so easy to make excuses for ourselves. And I think it's so easy to, get to a place where you feel comfortable and I hate to say it, but comfortability is going to make you fail. And I had to realize that. We're not supposed to feel comfortable all the time. Life isn't just about comfort. The people who get to the next level have to be uncomfortable. And last year, I was very uncomfortable because I was figuring out, what am I doing? Do I even like this? Do I want to burn the whole thing to the ground? What am I doing? And then I finally got to the point of, I wanna do this, but I want to do it my way. And that is something that I really, really share about now on my page and, focusing on, you can do it your way, you can share personal things, you can build your personal brand, but also have that business aspect. Think about Base and Shay Mitchell. Like, she has such a good brand and her personality is written all over it when they do the skits and all those things. And then you go over to her personal brand and there's base infused into it, her alcohol brand, I believe it is, and then her family and all those things to your brand and the face of the brand should connect. So I started doing that for myself and I think that it made a world of a difference. But yeah, definitely be that business owner and service provider who gets back to your clients right away because seriously, it was a big
Mm.
kind of punch in the throat to kind of go through that and, figure out, I had people a little bit upset reaching out to me, and, that was something I had to say, "Okay, you need to set time aside or you need to outsource it." I don't love outsourcing it because I don't really like people in my jobs that are, working on it, so I said, "Okay, if you don't like that, get uncomfy and do it yourself."
Yeah.
So, that was something that I really had to, figure out.
I love the fact that you kind of like changed the perspective because that's true. Like when I feel like when some sort of like bad situation happens with a client, we need to think about why that happened.
Yeah,
And most of the time, because, it can happen that it's another thing, but most of the
yeah,
times I feel like it's because the system that we had in place wasn't the right one.
yeah,
So it was probably
100%.
because they didn't have it clear, whatever happened wasn't clear, or. So I think that's such an important thing because to me, and like to anyone, like my one piece of advice that no one is asking me if they're thinking about starting a social media business is like making sure that your system is in place. Like,
Yeah,
okay, what are you gonna do? First of all, how is your portfolio gonna look like? How is people gonna find you? When they find you, what do you want them to do? How
right.
are they going to contact you? And what are they gonna get when they contact, like all those
Yeah,
little pieces, details are so important. And I feel
100%.
like sometimes we just start. We're like, okay, we wanna start, but we
Yeah,
don't think about those things. So, you learn it from Brie today. Make sure your systems are in place because
literally, don't be like me.
and like Maria. Yeah.
Literally be like that. I was like, "Oh, I'm getting a lot of messages. This is not good." I was like, "I gotta figure something out."
Yeah, no. And honestly, you are so inspiring. Like everything I see from you, from your brand, your clients, I'm just like, oh my God. And it's the type of content creator, you're the type of business owner that we want to continue seeing. Like it's like, and we want to know where you are. It's just because it's like that constant inspiration all the time. It's like, oh my God, I
Thank
love
you.
and everything around you. Like just look at the if you're seeing the video of this episode, it says up on her wall, what's the best that could happen. I love it.
I'm gonna have my little serving always with a tennis
Oh my
racket.
God, I love everything. I love it
Oh,
all.
thank you. Well, I can't say it's all beautiful if I turn my screen over for you guys. I have my boyfriend's desk in the other side, and he has a Christmas tree on it from last year. So not everything's all perfect, I can't say. But I think that fusing that imperfectness with,
Mm-hmm.
pretty things also lets people realize. Because listen, I live in a very, very old apartment. Like, I'm talking, like, it's not an apartment, it's a two-family. So, like, it's like an old two-family house, and at first I was like, "Ooh, I really wanna film in here." I'm a little, I don't know, just a little
Yeah, because
weird.
we're used to
I
that
know.
everything has to look perfect and so
Yes,
wide and so staged. And it's like we don't live like
literally.
that.
And I was like, "Okay, let me just start posting and see what happens," and people actually loved it, and I was like, "Okay." I realized that sharing more about myself, and obviously, and we were speaking about this before, but we think that we are so boring. But we're
Yes.
not boring. Honestly, like, even the days where I don't do much and I share about it, I get so many questions, whether it's about my outfit or it's about something on my desk or it's about what systems I'm using, my desktop wallpaper. All of these things are so interesting for people to know about and ask about. So I think that when you're creating content for a social media manager business or a service provider business or whatever it might be, I think that leaning into that you coded piece, and Alyssa, if you guys know, Alyssa, she is Inspire Media Co. on Instagram. She is
Mm-hmm.
literally everything. She goes over all of Signature Series. Um, like,
Mm.
the thing I just said, like the you coded, like, posts, all of those things, she is going to teach you. Literally, even her free reels, her TikToks, all those things are going to teach you so many, like, valuable pieces of how to show up as yourself, but also as yourself in those little ways that people will find interesting. So, really figuring out, like, for me, it was my health journey, or also for me, it was my past. Like, every time that I have a discovery call, I always talk about my 5 brothers. Here, I talked about my 5 brothers. Um, there's just certain things like my Google Calendar, all of those things have been me coded, and listening to her on her podcast, on her Instagram, all those things had taught me, okay, just post about it and see what people think. I had so many questions on my Google Calendar that I had to make a two-part series about it, and people ate it up, and I would have never thought.
They
So
love
it's
that.
just, yeah, it's just figuring out, like, what you want to kind of post. And, like, another thing was all my Anthropologie cups. I get so many questions about them.
Uh-huh.
Um, my cups for ice, my hot coffee cup, like, everything. And it's just like, I think people are just so much more interested in someone they don't know. And so that's why we think we're not interesting, but other people think we are, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Because personally, I'm like, who? No, why would they want to know about me? I'm not, because
Literally.
you're always thinking about only like influencers are going to be the ones
Yeah,
that people are going to be so interested about. But you're right. Like sometimes I post about something and people ask me things about things that weren't even related.
literally.
So yeah, it's just like, just do it at the end of the
Literally.
day. And this type of work, I feel like is very like test and try and see what happens.
Yes, 100%.
That's the only way you're gonna find out what people in your community like, especially if you're trying to build community. You
Yeah.
just have to like throw a lot of spaghetti at the wall and see what they're gonna like and what it's gonna stick.
But also listening to your audience. I think that listening to your audience really, like, they're telling you something through every action that they make, whether they like your story, whether they like your post, whether they comment, whether they're saving, all of those things, whether they're asking you questions in the DMs, reading all of your comments and seeing what questions or comments people are making. All of those things, like, I would have never known to post anything if I didn't really lean into the Google Calendar thing, or I would have never
Mhm.
posted about my personal health journey if people didn't ask about it. I would have never made
Yeah.
the broadcast channel if people weren't asking what steps I did during 75 Soft and all of those things. I think that we really need to lean into our audience and let them feel connected to not only the content that we're creating, but make them feel a part of the process. I think that
Mhm.
they feel so much more aligned with your content when you take their feedback and you use it. And a lot of times too, when I reference something that somebody had requested of me or whatever, I'll either send them the post and said, I made this specifically for you, or I'll tag them in the post. It's just kind of making them feel included in the content creation.
Yeah, yes, just feeling like they're included because that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like, we feel since it's social media, it's like the
Yeah.
digital space, it feels so nice when you actually engage with someone and they get back to you, they comment back to you, or they
Yeah.
reference whatever you said. You just feel like, okay, there is a person behind this brand.
100%.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. Brie, thank you so much for coming here.
Of
And
course.
I really want everyone, if they didn't know about you, which I doubt, to follow you and just like be in your community because you're honestly one of the best creators that I've been following lately.
God,
So where
thank you.
can they find you? And of course, I'll put everything in the show notes, but whatever that you want to share about you and your business, I will love people to also know about.
Perfect. Yeah. So you can really find me in one place. I mainly focus on Instagram. I did TikTok for a while, but wasn't a fan. So I deleted it and just went private. Just is what it is. But you can find me at Socially Bree, SOCIALLYY Bree on Instagram, and I will be sharing all things fitness, health, social media, all those things. So I also have a broadcast channel that you'll find. It's called Steps, Social, and everything in between. So
Ooh.
I know I couldn't believe I came up with that. But you can find that on my Instagram page and join us.
Ah, my God. I love it. Thank you
Yay!
so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. No, you.
And maybe we'll do a second part of, mental health, focus on mental health.
Yes, I would love that.
Okay. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to the Good Days Academy podcast. If today's episode gave you the tools you need to grow your virtual assistant business, subscribe, leave a review, and share with others. If you need more resources, visit my Etsy shop for templates and tools, and follow me on Instagram at gooddays_VA for daily tips on entrepreneurship, marketing, and virtual assistants.